Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite program, To The Point. Tonight, it's all about bullying. Why? Because bullying is a serious problem in schools, homes, workplaces. It is the physical, verbal, and emotional abuse that people inflict on others whom they consider to be weak or inferior. Millions of children and adults are victims of bullying. There are laws to protect bullying victims if the victim will come forward and press charges. However, many people do not come forward. Why? To attempt to look brave enough. Bullies inflict various types of abuses on their victims. The abuse can be so intense and so cruel and vicious, to the extent that some victims simply put an end to their miseries or to their bully's life or even their career. We have a lot more right after this report, so stay with us.
What would I do with my trash and I just put it in your mouth?
One time, last year when I was in 5th grade, there was a new girl in our class.
Everybody made fun of her just because she looked a bit different and had a different accent to us.
One day after school, I was walking to my next class with the new girl. And then my other friend saw her and was like,
"Ew, are you hanging out with her? She is cross-eyed and you might get sick of something."
I felt so bad for her because they made her cry in the corridor.
The worst part of my school day is lunch. Some days I can sit wherever I want, but then without any reason, I'm told I need to go find another table.
They say go sit at the loser's table or go sit with the ugly. Not knowing is the worst. Not knowing who to sit with in lunch or on the bus, it changes every day.
They constantly abuse me, both physically and emotionally.
When I get home from school, I go to my room and cry as I get more alerts on my phone about the things they are saying.
Now a kid from my same grade is making up rumors about me on the internet.
Some of my other friends think I'm a bad person because of what they're reading on Facebook.
Fatty, stupid, hippo, whale, nerd,
whale, useless,
die, loner, psycho, lame, dork, and a lot worse. I want to tweet, but the threats just scare me. My phone now scares me. School scares me. The bullies are faceless. Help!
Welcome back. We would like to welcome our first guest, Mrs. Zahra Taqi, a life and parent coach, founder of Milestone Coaching. It's all about bullying. What's going on? How are you this evening? And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
It's our pleasure. Now, what is bullying? To be more specific.
All right. Bullying is any conflict that happens between children with a perceived power imbalance. It's usually a child who is either stronger.
Mrs. Zahra, you're a coach, so your voice should be louder. Bullying, we have to make everybody listen to us. Bullying.
It's either a child who is stronger physically, or more popular socially, or in terms of status comes from an upper status compared to the child who he's bullying. So these are the definition of bullying. Things that are not considered bullying, and I get these questions a lot from a lot of the parents that come and see me. I'll get asked, my child who's 2 years old is bullying one of the kids at playgroup. Now kids who are perceived in that way between 2 and 5 years old, that's not actually bullying, that's just children learning how to form relationships and how to navigate relationships.
Some 2 years old is bullying somebody else?
You wouldn't
already?
call it.
He's 2 years old. He's barely walking.
But you wouldn't call it bullying.
You wouldn't?
No, that is not bullying. Because that is that's just a child learning how to navigate their relationship.
What type of bullying we're talking about? There are types of bullying. Could be verbals and physical and something else.
So we've got 4 types of bullying. We've got physical bullying, verbal bullying, social bullying, and cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is kind of one of the new ones.
Okay, okay, let's concentrate on cyberbullying because this is a brand new thing. What is it? Something like I might take a picture of you and try to threaten you that I'm going to publish it somewhere else?
It could be that. It could be also texting, and you're sending either hurtful messages through texting, or you're sending messages through Facebook or social media, whatever kind of social media. Hurtful messages through that, spreading rumors.
They call it extortion.
Yeah, you can call it extortion. So that is one of the kinds of bullying. And also when we're talking about bullying, we need to make a differentiation between direct bullying and indirect bullying. So when we're talking about physical and verbal bullying, that's more of a direct bullying because that happens face to face. When a child is hitting someone, then that's physical bullying, or kicking or spitting. That's all physical bullying, and that's direct bullying.
So see, he or she who's bullying somebody else, they have interior motives inside of them. They want to get something out of the victim, something like that.
Usually,
what about the victims? What exactly they need to do?
Usually a child who's being bullied is either perceived as weaker, or has less friends, or is unsure of his surroundings.
Or maybe passive, maybe a peaceful
Exactly,
person.
or a passive person. From my experience working with families and children, all children are either bullied at one point in their lives, or are the instigators, are the actual bully in one point of their lives. And I feel that the most important part when we're talking about bullying is not to label children, because once you label a child as a bully, then you've put him in you've put him inside a box, and this is your personality. That's how you deal with people, and that's how you deal with your problems, by being a bully. And so you don't help the child get out of that personality and improve in a way. And so what I always tell parents is, whether your child is the actual bully or your child is bullied, both ways, try not to label your child. Another thing, when it comes to a child who's being bullied, I feel a big part of helping that child overcome bullying is by growing their self-esteem, making him become sure of himself. I feel martial arts.
Regarding self-esteem, because it does not happen overnight.
No.
You have to build it up.
Absolutely.
You have to build it up not only from the people surrounding you, from inside and out.
Absolutely.
Something like that. What about in Kuwait? How common is bullying in Kuwait?
Bullying in Kuwait is extremely common.
Common?
Very common. I've worked with many parents and schools where it happens on a daily basis. And
inside schools?
Absolutely.
So somebody is condoning it or not?
I mean, teachers are condoning it. Most of the schools I work with have a zero tolerance of bullying, which is a good thing. However, we need to understand the reasons why a child is being bullied or is being a bully, and helping the child who is a bully understand ways of dealing with his emotions. A lot of the times a child who's a bully lacks empathy, and what that means is the child doesn't understand how another person feels like, or doesn't understand how to deal with his own emotions, and the only way he deals with his own emotions is by bullying somebody else.
Okay, let's put a differentiation between girls and boys, because this is not exclusively for male gender, it's also for women gender.
Absolutely. And so both male and female
are as much furious as the male themselves.
Both males and females bully, and the types.
Who's the worst?
It depends actually on what type of bullying we're talking about. And so when it comes to...
Okay, forget about physical, we know that.
Yeah.
But some other women are so tough.
I mean, girls can bully physically too.
I know.
But it's a lot harder to see it. Boys kind of try to show people that they're masculine by hitting someone else, where girls...
Weaker. They think that the girl is weaker.
I mean, that's when we're talking about...
This is not true.
No, this is not true. But the way that girls would bully somebody else is extremely indirect, or is very hard to pinpoint. So sometimes girls would sit behind each other in school, and she'd tick her with a pen. So
that's not bullying.
That is a kind of bullying.
I love
that's physical bullying.
This is fun.
So
they're poking you on the back.
So she's poking. No, but it can be really hurtful.
It's so delicate.
Emotionally, it's hard to deal with, and it's hard for teachers to also see it. And so when the child who's bullied tell somebody else.
That's
sometimes
wonderful. I would love to see that. Do you have it on camera or something like that?
Unfortunately,
I was thinking about fist fighting and probably breaking bones.
You do see that with girls, but it's not as common as when you see it with, with boys.
They pull each other's hair. That's
right.
it.
Girls can get very physical and can get very violent, but when we're talking
Believe it
in
or
terms
not,
of
about 1 month ago, we had a coach, a taekwondo coach. She was a female.
Yeah.
And I was terrified.
Girls do martial arts. My daughter does karate.
Oh God.
I mean, it's not something that only boys do. I feel like girls need
That's
to learn
beautiful.
how to
martial arts. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Gorgeous and martial arts.
Absolutely.
You cannot beat that. Now, let's talk more about the girls. So you were talking about that she would sit behind somebody and poke them in the back, and
Yeah.
that's it.
No, I mean, when it comes to girls being the bullies, they can do all sorts of things. But when we're talking about physical bullying per se, girls don't bully in the same way that boys do, or use physical bullying to a lesser degree than boys. You'd see more.
What about the spectators? Because there are lots of people are just sitting around or standing around and watching the others getting hurt, probably physically or verbally. What would the spectator do?
The first thing that we need to teach our kids is to stand up to themselves and to stand up to those around them.
No matter what?
No matter what.
It doesn't matter if he's weaker than the bully himself.
Absolutely, and I feel that this is a big part of teaching self-esteem and self-respect. If you see someone being hurt, you either speak out, and if you can't help that person, you seek someone who can. So an adult, a teacher, a parent who can come and help the child who is being bullied. And instead of just standing around and watching it happen.
What about if your child was the bully?
So if your child is the bully, the most important thing is to put your feelings aside. Because when parents...
What do you mean by that? Put your feelings aside, like as a mother?
As a mom, if someone comes and tells me that my child is being the bully...
So you have to be fair.
I would probably get angry, right?
Okay.
I'd get mad that my child is being perceived as a bully. I'd get mad that my child is hurting somebody else. But with these feelings, it becomes a lot harder for me to help my child. And this is what I mean by putting your feelings aside. You put your feelings aside and you try to open a conversation with your child and try to understand what happened. Where did the breakdown happen? Why is your child being a bully? Also, another important part of this is consequences. Every child has to understand their house rules and their family rules, and every child needs to understand that there are consequences sometimes. And so when I find out that my child is a bully, I open up a conversation, I try to understand where he's coming from, we talk about it, and then we put a roadmap to what we can do together to overcome this hurdle and implement
What about the
consequences.
parents? They are cooperative with you? Do you think that they are getting some feedback? You think that they, going along with the program to stop this abusive act from their children?
It depends on the parents and it depends on the child. Usually if we're talking about boys being the bullies, parents will say, oh, it's a boy thing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, keep it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably they are coaching him. Yes.
And I think this is something that needs to change. And we're seeing more rough play between children. We're seeing problems between kids that are escalating out of the schools. And I feel if we don't encourage violence as a way to show your masculinity, I think
what
that's
goes around comes around. They will get beaten by somebody else, because no matter how strong you are, there are somebody else
stronger than you.
Yes, you better believe it. And it's going to come back and bite you in the rear end.
But I feel if we're always saying if somebody hits you, you have to hit them back, then where does it stop? Where does it end?
It doesn't stop. I know that.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
So I feel like what we see today, we see fist fights in malls. We see a lot of crime happening in malls, and this is where it starts.
Unfortunately, we're almost out of time, but I would love to get some more information about female bullying in about 30 seconds.
Female bullying, you'll see
else.
more social bullying and cyberbullying. Social bullying is alienating other girls, asking other kids not to talk to her, for example, asking them not to include her at a party or a gathering. And cyberbullying is when they'll text each other mean messages, they'll spread rumors through social media,
We call this bullying, spreading rumors.
Well, yeah, it is a type of bullying, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what they do. They gossip all the time.
No, that's not what girls do. Actually, I take big offense to that.
Sure. Martial arts and taekwondo.
Yeah.
That's something else. Mrs. Zahra, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot
Please
for having me.
make sure to come back again and concentrate on girls and bullying.
Thanks a lot.
We would like to thank our guest, Mrs. Zahra Taqi, life and parent coach, founder of Milestone Coaching. We will be right back after this break. Stay with us.
Bullying is hurting too many people in this world.
Sometimes I cry when I'm being bullied.
Bullying makes me feel sad. When I am bullied, I try to walk away.
Sometimes they punch you in the eye. It's so bad that you could cry.
I got bullied at school.
Children leave me out of games.
I don't like it at all. It makes me cry after school.
We are different in many different ways. Size, shape, and color.
I have been bullied, so I know how it feels to everyone going through a hard time out in the world.
Tall, short, skinny, or round.
Tall, short, skinny, or round.
You have a voice, so make a sound. Never meant to be the same.
You have to care because there are other people in the world besides you that have feelings.
Bullying can prevent good in the world and make the bad go in the world.
It's not nice to bully. It's better to be a friend.
Well, from the studio to the phone calls, we have Dr. Nadera Alnisif. She is an international educator who specializes in peace education, emergency education. She is the president and the CEO of Global Schooling System. Dr. Alnisif, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me on your show.
It's our pleasure.
Good evening.
We would like from you to tell us about you recently had a successful presentation during the 5th Arab Regional Conference on the prevention of child abuse and neglect. Can you please give us an overview about the conference and tell us about your presentation?
Yes, the 5th Arab Regional Conference was a great opportunity. Actually, it was an exceptional experience for all the professionals. We had experts gathered from all over the world and presenters and attendees. They shared their views and achievements to protect children against abuse and neglect. And the conference major theme was to move forward from legislation to implementation, which is the case that we need to enforce and push forward and encourage governments in our region to monitor and work on, so we can see that their involvement in all the international declarations and actually their acceptance to be a part of this war against abuse and neglect. They need to enforce the laws. I mean, this is very definite, and we need governments in our region to enforce and honor their signature on the Declaration and the Convention of the Children's Rights Law.
Okay.
Now, if I move forward,
Go ahead. You were saying something else. Go ahead.
No, I was in a shift to my presentation during the conference, if you allow me.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Unless you have a question.
Well, I have lots of
Okay.
questions, but
Well,
if you
my
want to say something else, go ahead.
Okay. My presentation focused on three hubs. The first one is what is violence and neglect against children. Definition, causes, demographic effects that I coupled with my experience during my field study in Lebanon. My research study that I did under the new schools, and I used other sources of studies that.
That's why I want from you to tell me
some
your
statistics.
strategies and your opinion to prevent bullying. What exactly that you are trying to implement here?
Oh, you're moving to bullying.
Yes.
Bullying is an essential part of abuse.
Yes.
Okay. If we were to work on strategies to prevent bullying, okay, we have too much to do. First, I would say that we need to spread the awareness of what bullying is.
Yes.
Among the the families, and have them involved with the schools. We need parents, we need the administration, school administration, and we need the kids. And my strategy, since I am a peace educator, I do believe that that kindness, acceptance, and inclusion are three main words that we need to work on to spread awareness and believe.
That's why
that
you have a
bullying
major role in the movie National Day of the Children. You have some kind of a role in this National Day for the children. Am I correct?
Yes. That was a pleasurable experience when Mrs. Manal Baghdadi proposed the idea to me and said that they're working on a documentary movie, and she needed some of my knowledge, and I shared it, and we were so happy. The timing of airing the movie, thanks to the Kuwaiti television, to do it during the Isfahan conference. Dr. Khawari, Mrs. Manal Baghdadi, and I, with other colleagues, we're just so excited to see that the movie is airing on the Universal Children's Day on the 20th of November, where we were at the conference, and it was just exciting. It was very exciting.
Always exciting. We would like to thank you for calling us all the way from Canada, and you spared us some time.
From
Thank you so
America,
much.
from the USA.
They told me you were from Canada. Canada or USA? Which one? Which is it?
No, from USA, from USA.
Okay, what part of the United States?
Michigan.
Michigan.
We have cold weather.
Oh,
Maybe
it's snowing over there. Is it snowing over there?
My voice walking. Not yet. But
Not
it's
yet.
Cold. It's 40 Fahrenheit.
Okay, are you rooting for Detroit Lions or not?
Oh, no. I wish I'm back to Dubai. I love the warm weather.
Okay, we would love to see you here, right here in the state of Kuwait. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank Dr. Nadera Alnisif, President of Global Schooling System in Canada and United States. Stay tuned. We have another special distinguished guest. Her name is Eman Alshemiri, Professor at Kuwait University, but right after this cyber report. Anti-bullying campaigns are popping up everywhere in response to the situation, and Kuwait against bullying is one of them. Dr. Eman Alshemiri, a professor at Kuwait University, started a social media campaign against all types of bullying. We would like to welcome our guest, Dr. Eman Alshemiri, a professor at Kuwait University. Thank you so much for being patient and staying with us right here on To The Point. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you have witnessed and heard your previous guest and our guest, and everybody said their own different opinions. We'd like from you to tell us your opinion, but before we get to that, we would like to mention that you have entered the Guinness Book, the World Guinness Book record, a big thing, and you have submitted 13,000 pictures. That's why you got the recognition from the Guinness Book, and the title and signed of Shame on You. It's all about bullying, isn't it?
Yes, it's about empowering. Actually, it's directly connected to bullying, but it's
13,000. You said that you had 16,000.
I had 16,000, but
you
qualified
submitted only
13,000. Yes.
Okay.
The whole idea was to brand the campaign. The campaign started 2015, at the end of 2015. The idea also is to spread awareness. Having people carry a sign, having 13,000 people carrying the sign of saying shame on you is actually also a startup conversation with those people. So some people look at it as a digital album of 13,000 people or 16,000 people carrying that sign, but I look at it as 16,000 conversations between Kuwait University students, my colleague students. They went and they spread over schools to collect these pictures. So the campaign, I don't know.
So
what
it's a
exactly.
big effort, not only from you and also it's from your students.
It was my idea, but it wouldn't happen if it wasn't with Kuwait University students.
Cooperation with your students.
Yes.
What about your campaign? You said something about a campaign that helps spreading the awareness about bullying in Kuwait.
Yes.
Do we have a bullying in Kuwait?
Yeah, bullying everywhere.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I appeared in many other shows.
When you listened to the previous guest, she was talking about the women bullying women.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
See, when we go back to the definition of bullying, it's any aggressive behavior. And when I say behavior, I mean verbal and physical, but also emotional.
Emotional.
The way I look at you, sometimes I can bully you. When we look at people, when you and Kuwaitis go to Diwania, and some men, they don't say hi to a specific group and they welcome or hug another group. This is bullying. Somebody being treated.
Or maybe intimidation.
Well, you
like
can
that.
give it. Well, if it's repetitive. See, with the bullying, it has to be repetitive, and that was the issue I'm having when I was bullied by the environment when I started the campaign, because people were asking, what is bullying? What is bullying? What is bullying? I wasn't the first, but I think my campaign was spreading in 2015, and that started a lot of questions.
Did you get any positive feedback?
Yes.
From the public?
Yes, a lot.
Specifically, the victims themselves?
Yes. Yeah, actually, the campaign, 2015 and 2016, the way we collected images and pictures wasn't only us going out. Well, actually, some pictures were coming through the social media. Some women, they asked their kids to say something. They were welcome to participate with videos. We have a lot of celebrities. You can go to the account and you can see a lot of celebrities carrying signs saying shame on you, or saying something. In my campaign, I started translating English or American movies, educational. I started making my own movies. I'm also a music composer and a poet, and I created I'm
multi-talented person.
Alhamdulillah. So I made a lot of songs. I made one for the campaign for the kids. We did movies ourselves. We created our own movies. So the campaign was, in my perspective, it was successful. But back to your question, do we have bullying? The idea is not that we do or we don't. In our book, in the Quran, we talk about bullying. Even Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he started his mission, he was bullied. That's why he left to Habasha,
Medina.
and then Medina. He didn't. His followers left to Habasha, and then he left to Medina. That's bullying, and that's a solution of bullying, which is that you leave the
He
place.
just informed me, the director, that he has a picture of you about the Guinness Book.
Yeah.
That thing, it's all about the 13,000 picture you have submitted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch it. This one here, you can see it on the right, right there. That's your picture over there on the right.
Yep.
Okay, that's a good picture.
Yeah, it is photoshopped.
And you received some kind of recognition from
Actually,
the state?
yeah, no, the Guinness, it's from London,
Uh-huh.
but my biggest achievement was handing it to His Highness the Emir Sabah Ahmed Al-Sabah. I went to him to the Bayan Palace, and I gave it to him, and
Okay.
it was one of the best days of my life.
We have to go for a break
Okay.
and come back, so you hold the thought.
Sure.
Stay with us. Back to your campaign, there must be you have some activities along the way.
Yeah.
What kind of activities?
Currently, I visit schools and I give
Schools?
lectures.
Mainly men, male or female?
No, it doesn't matter. I go to private schools, and they're usually mixed. I went last year. I actually lectured like 700. I gave a total of 700 kids, and that was an achievement. This year, I halted my campaign a little bit because I also dealt with another bullying, which is I was, alhamdulillah, the first Arabian woman after Queen Rania to go to Rohingya. I was the two victims, and that's also bullying victims because they are victims of bullying and
documented
racism.
the whole thing, and he put it in books or in the pictures?
I have it in my Twitter account, but for me, I was going there to spread joy. I wasn't there to take pictures. I was there I met with the raped woman who was bullied. I went to meet the kids, and I went to do some role in spreading happiness. I didn't go there to take pictures, with respect to that, but I have few pictures.
Did you feel any success during the whole trip over there?
Yes, I witnessed how Kuwait is really doing a lot to humanity. Kuwait is one of the biggest donors to Muslims, to Rohingya victims. They are victims of bullying. Racism is
Let's classify before we get the end of this wonderful interview, because we are almost out of time. Let's classify the bullying itself, because our previous guest, she mentioned something. I don't want to hear the same thing. I want to hear something new.
Yes, this is new.
This is new.
A bullying could be a group against a group. So when you have Rohingya Muslims who are minorities being under discrimination or cleansing, racial cleansing, because they are Muslims, and being kicked out from their lands, from their houses.
The world is watching.
No, but the world is moving now, which is finally there is some movement. But unfortunately,
how many casualties? How many people died before the world moved? This is the question.
Well, see, it's this year actually the whole thing in 2016 drove awareness, because now so far 1 million people left, and when I went there, I saw naked kids, wounded women, men were killed. So that's another kind of bullying. When we talk about this is so that's why I kind of hold it my campaign for schools. But inshallah, I'm going back. Inshallah. I've been asked by people online, private messages, to discuss workplace bullying, and I think this is also a major thing we should talk about if we have time.
Oh, we have lots of time, but I would love from you to tell us about something about cyberbullying.
Okay.
Let's put our self in the parents' shoes. and you find your child, whether male or female, is bullying somebody else through the phone or probably some other devices, what exactly you should do?
See, that's why when I was sent the questions, I was really not very happy or not very glad that I would talk about that, because alhamdulillah, after Kuwait have created the discriminating laws, so now the issue is really way less than before. You know, now the laws, for electronic crime, it's really doing well. So cyberbullying now is more related to celebrities. I think because we have private accounts, so like kids, they should have private, or they should not have accounts at all. Yeah, so I don't think the issue is really a big thing. But in schools, I have witnessed that when I had a discussion with students. Some students, they have accounts and their friends can like make fun of them online. Because we have laws now, if you go straight and talk legal and illegal, then you will stop them, because now the law is very clear and the punishment is very severe. That's why we have way less cyberbullying cases compared to a few years ago.
So you are with, not against the laws at all, because people
you
think
have to
that
have laws.
They are kind of tied their freedom.
Well, laws, if you insult somebody, of course you should be punished.
Yes, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Unfortunately, that's all the time that
so no time for workplace bullying?
You want to go ahead, please, go ahead, quickly, briefly.
I just want to say that workplace bullying, it's a big thing. And a lot of people, like in the private sector, are quitting their jobs. The workplace bullying is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. A lot of women, a lot of men are being bullied by their managers. It is not okay to put up with it. You have to go document every incident that happens to you. You have to look inside yourself. You have to know, sometimes we make ourselves the target. We have to set boundaries at work. Also, we have to know the laws that we have. Each association has to have a code of ethics. Every employer, that's what I tell my students when they graduate. I tell them, please, when you get a job, look at the code of ethics, look at your contract. Be aware of your rights. So this is my best advice. But please follow our account.
Hear from you from now until the end of days, but this is all the time that
so
we
bad,
have for you.
So bad.
Promise us to come back again.
Inshallah, I promise you. If you have me.
We'd love to. We'd like to thank our guest, Dr. Eman Alshemiri, a professor at Kuwait University. Stay with us. We have a lot more right here on To The Point.
You have to believe that good people who are willing to help you are around. You just have to find them. One afternoon, on the way back to my locker, I noticed this kid getting booked in the hallway. His stuff went everywhere, and I could tell he was humiliated and upset. Although I didn't know him, I went back and helped him pick up his stuff.
I felt really grateful and said that we should hang out.
The hallways are a cool place in school. I have fun and meet up with friends. But there's these shady kids who hang out in corners. One day, I was walking into class and they tripped me up into the class. My books flew everywhere
and the whole class was laughing.
Someone I thought was in my math class came over and picked up my books, took them to my desk.
It was a very cool thing to do. Wouldn't it be awesome if everyone was like that?
Hey man, what'd you get on that test? I bet you did amazing. I did terrible. You should really tutor me. High five! Yeah!
Now my tweets and Snapchats look like awesome,
dude, friend, pal, amigo, cool, football, nice, fun, hang out, great.
In the morning when I head to my locker, I see my friends that give me a high five. I am sad that I have to share my story, but I know it'll help others in my situation.
Fostering Youth Resiliency project under the media name of Anti-Bullying Campaign started in 2012 with partnership of the Kuwaiti Red Crescent Society, the United Nations Development and Program, and financed by the Kuwait National Petroleum Company. To know more about Fostering Youth Resiliency project, we would love to welcome back our dear friend, Mrs. Sahar, alshawa, Head of Gender and Social Development Programs in the United Nations. Welcome to your house. Welcome to your program. All pleasure to have you once and third time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You have heard the previous two guests, maybe three guests, and we were talking about bullying. But from your own point of view, let us talk about the project adopted by the UN and dedicated to confirmation such attitude. What exactly we're talking about here?
Of course, the bullying statistics are really rising, and so much violence and negative attitudes and hostile attitudes are appearing. So something had to be done. So an initiative came from the Red Crescent for an anti-bullying campaign or an anti-bullying initiative. And we as UNDP, we play the role of interconnecting all the players on in Kuwait. So we managed to partner with the Kuwait National Petroleum Company, KNPC, who under their social, their CSR, their Corporate Social Responsibility Program, had funds, and they needed to put it in a valid program to serve and to participate in the development of Kuwait. So we partnered, the three of us, UNDP, KNPC, and the Red Crescent. UNDP brought the technical expertise through the consultants and the sociologists to administer the program, and funded by KNPC, and we trained, they developed a very comprehensive resiliency intervention, and we did within that lots of training for the Red Crescent staff, who did a lot of schools visits, and also there was a training program with the training of trainers that and a training manual that was developed, a media campaign that came out of it, that in partnership with the Ministry of Education, that we did it with schools. So it's a very comprehensive program. With
what about the idea? You must have touched something. You must have found something. That's why the idea was gave birth.
Absolutely. طبعا Kuwait is a very youthful society with 65% of population youth. Between the ages of 10 to 24, we have about a third of the population is between 10 to 24, and this is the age that we had to focus on for this project. طبعا resiliency, I would love to explain the word resiliency and what it means. It's basically, you know, when you touch a ball, a hard ball, like a ping pong ball, if you crush it, it will stay crushed. But if you bring a soft ball and the one that you do it goes back. That's resiliency. So basically, resiliency is the character that you give a person so that he can handle or he can choose the proper. He can do the proper choices for behavioral choices when he's faced with multiple risks. And that's exactly what we want to do with our youth. Teach them the skills on how to to have proper choices, behavior, so we will decrease this dysfunctional behavior from violence and from this attitudes, the negative attitudes, and empower them with positive attitudes and positive skills so they can handle themselves.
You're not focusing on the male gender, you're focusing on both.
On both,
genders.
Absolutely. All our
Who do you think that perceive the information faster than the other, the male or the female? Because over here they said that the male is bullying more than the women and the female. Now I would love from you to tell us honestly, who is absorbing the information faster than the other?
I'm not sure if I can answer this question, to tell you the truth. I think there were males, more than males in the whole program as a total, because it involved 18 schools. We taught, we trained psychologists and psychologists and social workers in schools who addressed, and we got students from private and public schools. But the assessments didn't involve, to tell you that I seriously can't, but we measured the whole positive reinforcement that happened to the students as a whole. But to be specific, I don't think I can.
You cannot do that. Okay. Resiliency, you were talking about it, and you had something about a ball when you crush it or something like that. But it's a process. It's phases. Let's take it one at a time. What is the first step to make the victim is more resilient than the other?
Basically, you want to change their attitudes. You want to build their attitudes to give them the life skills, the positive life skills that will make them change. That you want to give them self-confidence. You want to self-empowerment. You want to give them positive thinking, optimism. You want to give them negotiation skills. How can I negotiate to reach a settlement instead of going into a fight? You want to teach them these positive life skills that will change their whole attitude. So when they are faced with the risk that they can go wrong, these attitudes will stop them and make them do the right choice of either it will raise their positive outcome and make them avoid going into any conflict that will result in bad consequences for them. So far, all that the interventions has been after the incidents happen, so they're reactive. So it goes into punishment. A youth did something wrong, it goes into punishing this youth, in jail, incarceration. So it's all negative. So this program is about prevention. So when you prevent something from happening through research, through lots of research that's been conducted, it is proven 100% that prevention is the most effective tool that you can use. You prevent something from happening in just being reactive and doing a punishment or putting this youth into rehabilitation and into other programs.
This is your program on the air right this moment. Right here, you can lock it over there. Now, you mentioned that most of the population in the state of Kuwait, the third of them, are younger than 24 years old. That's why you are concentrating on schools. How many schools did you visit? And was it only for the private sector or maybe the public sector?
It both was public and private. 18 schools were involved. We did a lot of visits to schools, and schools would invite other schools to come and join. So we enlarged the participation. But the actual training went into 24 social workers and psychologists from schools who trained about 120 students, females and males. And I have the statistics on one of the slides that 120 students, public, private schools, and they were went into a training.
In the program itself.
They're what?
They participated.
They participated in this training. We trained the school personnel, the school staff, who eventually did the trainings in school. And we take pride in UNDP that we do sustainable interventions. So when we train these Ministry of Education staff, who eventually have the training of trainer also, we developed a manual that it can be used consequently, and they can also continue this cycle of training and training of trainers without the intervention of UNDP. We did the basics, we developed the program, we trained on it, we did the training of trainers so they can easily transfer the knowledge on an ongoing.
With the results? Because sometimes it doesn't, it just backfire. People do not respond. They think that they are, they're fine. They don't want to press any charges. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to be left alone, isolated.
Absolutely, this is a fact. The cases that are reported is much less than the actual truth, because not everybody wants to go into the extreme of going and reporting and all that. So we know, it is the phenomenon exists more than what the numbers shows. And that's the idea. Thank God, at least for our intervention, we did a pre-assessment before, for these members who participated in the program. We did a pre-assessment, and we did after we intervened. And very, very good positive results showed up. And the skills that these people have gained, the thinking that they are more positive about, the way they're thinking of resolving issues, it showed that there are very good positive reaction, which gives us the inclination that we need to do more, we need to expand it, we need to have more partners, because this issue affects the whole society. You cannot only, Ministry of Education has to resolve this issue. It has to be done by all sectors in the ground. Exactly. All youth entities, the ministries, the NGOs, the clubs,
as far as you're experienced, see, to me, this is new to find out there are bullying from the female side. We are used to the male side to be bulliers. Honestly, we can live with it, and we have tolerances and stuff like that. You went to school, I went to school. We met people they have bad attitude, they have abusive attitude. What about the women? How did it come here, honestly?
It's a human nature, and everybody is exposed to internal factors, and there are external factors that comes from the family, how he's raised, from the society, this globalization and the effects, and from the society, from the school. So it's a very complicated issue that involves internal and external factors to these people who goes or choose to bully. They are people who need help, and we need to help them through knowing how to deal with them. So it's a multi-factored.
What about the parents? Are they involved in this program or not?
At this stage, we did a lot of training also for the Red Crescent people who had a lot of parents. But this, so far, it's been only the Ministry of Education and the students. But as I said, this needs to be treated as on a much larger scale, and to be expanded to involve all of these other factors that come into the life of these bullying people.
Honestly, they say the third time is the charm, but I hope not. You promise us to come back again, because this is your second home right here at KTV2.
Thank you so very much. I enjoy it, and I enjoy coming every time. Thank you so much.
We would like to thank Mrs. Sahar alshawa, Head of Gender and Social Development Programs in the United Nations.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, that's all the time that we have for you this evening. Make sure to join us once again next Wednesday at 8:15 right here on KTV2. I'm Ahmed Alwasmi. I hope to see you once again. Until then, take care of yourself and each other, and bye.
Why don't you two just talk to each other?
You should just let me help you.
Now I'm supposed to believe that you care?
I do care.
Yeah, that's why I spent the last 2 Christmases with complete strangers. Strangers who don't even have a nice tree.
And I want to make that up to you. But you have to start being more honest.
I have to start being honest? Look around, Marissa. You and Mom have been living a giant lie.
Hey, I just found out about the trailer. Mom said she was renovating a condo.
And you believed her? My friend Hadley's dad owns this property. When he heard about his new tenant, he called her right away because he couldn't believe it. Julie Cooper-Nickel, isn't that Caitlin's mom? Why would she be living in a trailer park?
I can't believe you knew.
My whole school knew.
So, why did you steal the money?
Because I wanted to come back home.
What, to find out if the rumors are true?
No. To make sure that you and Mom were okay.
I'm sorry. But we really were just trying to spare you.
From what? Being a part of this family?
Come here. Look, if you stick around long enough, you might find out what that's really like.
Ryan? I only wanted enough for the car to get down here. I'm sorry for all the lies.
I'll tell the cabbie he's not needed.
Well, I guess unfortunately, you have to go to Mom's launch party.
Only if I can buy her something to wear.
There it is. Most of it, anyway. Thanks. So, where's Caitlin? With her sister. Why? Why do I get the feeling this isn't just about the money?
Just thought Caitlin might come by with you. To apologize for something. Least you could do is apologize. So she didn't say anything to you about me at all?
Like?
I don't know.
You're in love with her?
Maybe I thought I was, but...
But what?
Just be careful of that girl, man. She's amazing.
You know, I used to always lie awake so jealous that you, Mom, and Dad are at one of these things. A Newport party.
Yeah, well, you're finally here.
Yeah. But what I had in mind was way cooler than this.
Hey, Caitlin. You leaving?
I wish I could.
Party that good, huh?
Just got a little bit more interesting.
I'm gonna find Marissa. Excuse me. Hey there.
Where's Veronica?
Yeah, she left.
Alone? Really? You two seem to be getting along so well.
Actually, I was hoping that you might have dinner with me sometime.
Neil, I would love to.
Ryan, oh, sorry.
Walked into that.
No, what are you doing here?
I'm not staying. I just, I wanted to apologize for yesterday. I don't know why I said those things. They're not even true. I guess I just, I missed you.
Apology accepted. I missed you too. Look, I know we both have our own lives now. Just don't be a stranger, okay? And speaking of strangers, have you seen my sister?
Yeah, she's out front. Seemed a little bored.
Yeah. You think maybe you could drive her home?
Sure. Take her for ice cream or something.
Summer! Taylor, I thought you left. Oh, I did. I told my mom I had to come back. Listen, I am so bummed that it didn't work out between our parents. But if you don't mind, I would still really like to think of you as my sister. Yeah, me too. Really? Oh, okay, that's great.
That makes this all worthwhile.
Okay, so I gotta go, but I'll see you tomorrow in school, sis. Okay. Okay, bye. What, you want another black eye?
I don't think it was the money he was after. They were seeing each other.
What? You're kidding. He's like our age.
And she lied about hers.
Well, that's not that big of a surprise, I guess.
I kind of feel sorry for the guy. I mean, you were what, a year older than Caitlin when I met you? I know what it's like to fall for a Cooper girl.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Where is she now?
Well, Johnny took her home, so hopefully by now she's safe in bed. Thanks for getting me out of there.
No problem.
You know how people say that you can't go home again? I'm never sure if that means that the place has changed or you have.
What do you think?
I think this place is exactly the same as I left it.
And you?
Pull over.
No, we're gonna stop.
I don't want ice cream. Just stop the car.